the sci-fi movie. Debuted on Sci-Fi, back in October. Children of the Corn.
Which really should have been called Donald P. Borchers depresses the shit out of Uncle Bill for an hour and 40 minutes.
Violently.
What? Watching this movie again, I was just amazed at how anybody could make a movie where nothing redeeming happens in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in this movie is a fucking asshole. And nothing good happens by the end of the movie at all. At all.
Yeah. Well, I think the opening, probably about the first 15, 20 minutes of the couple, what are their names?
I don't know.
Peter and Tammy or
Bert
Tracy.
and Vicky.
Bert and Vicky, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm watching that, and they're like, all they're doing the first 20 minutes or so is just, especially the Vicky character, is just being a total bitch. Like, she's not lightening up at all, saying, it's all your fault. You suck. You well, shut up.
That is really like the whole, that really is the whole movie until they get split up. Is just them, they start off arguing, then something happens, and she blames him for it happening, then they argue some more, and at one point he smacks the shit out of her, and then goes about like doing stuff like nothing happened, and
she sort of taunts him for being in Vietnam War.
Like, no, neither one of them, but you hate both of them equally. They're both like just horrible characters. Like, I can't even imagine the guy that did this, like, what he was even thinking.
Yeah.
Making those characters that unlikable and just, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but in all honesty, if there's one thing that wasn't too bad about this movie, it would have to be, in my opinion, I don't know the guy's name, the guy that played Malachi in the movie. I thought that he was okay. I actually thought that he did a pretty decent job. And I was surprised that they didn't stick, I mean, I don't know what the story tells, but of course, the original, Malachi sort of tries to take over Isaac, and they don't touch on that at all in this one. They don't have any sort of conflict amongst each other. Like, the little kid from Dexter, the little boy, is Isaac in this. And my God, he's got a hat on that looked like it could cover the state of Texas. It's so freaking big. I mean, it looks ridiculous how huge that is. And like Slippy was saying last week, we were talking about it, John Franklin, like, whether you like the movie or not, that was a perfect casting choice with John Franklin, because he wasn't really a kid. He was an actor, of course. He looked like a kid. He looked like a little boy. But his facial expressions and the acting and stuff, you really believed a little bit, that there's something devious going on with this guy. And what is the little boy's name? It's got it on the back.
You mean his real name?
Yeah.
Preston Bailey.
Preston Bailey. Okay. Bottom line is, that kid's too young to do anything like that. They should have. It's not really his fault. He's a little boy. He's not going to look fucking menacing.
Well, not only did he not look menacing, but you could clearly tell in a lot of scenes that he had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. Like, he didn't know what he was saying. He was just saying a bunch of stuff. Like, the delivery of, there was no emotion behind it because he didn't know what any of that stuff meant. Like, in the film, he has to spout religious rhetoric and stuff from the Bible, and you could just tell he didn't know what, there was several words in there where you could just tell by the way he was delivering them that he didn't know the meaning of what he was saying. He was just reading that stuff or memorizing it and reading it back.
Like I was saying, the kid's probably at most 8, 9 years old, so it's just a horrible casting choice there. I mean, more than anything else. Like, the kid's not bad as an actor, especially in Dexter. I mean, he does a good job.
Yeah, he just wasn't he was believable not meant for this role though at all.
If it's something believable for him to play, like, he's a little kid, they should have tried to find somebody similar to John Franklin that could have performed that character. That was the problem. And, well, there's a lot of problems with this, let's be honest. Like the whole story with Bert this time is he's, Vietnam. He just come back from Vietnam. This is set in 1980, I think. Early 80s. It's supposed to be set in.
I thought it was like the late 70s.
Yeah.
Mid to late 70s, I think.
Okay, and then the last half of this movie involves just him running in cornfields. It really is. He's just running in cornfields, and the children are after him, and then there's certain scenes where he's having these flashbacks that there's a war in the fucking cornfields, and bullets are zooming by his head. CG bullets, by the way, that look hilarious how bad they are.
I'll tell you something, though, that made me kind of sad about this movie. You know who the special makeup effects guy was on this movie, don't you?
No.
Robert Kurtzman.
Poor old Robert Kurtzman.
Yeah,
there's not even a lot of makeup effects in it, though.
The visual effects in this movie, I can kind of see that because there's a lot of the same visual effects in The Rage and stuff, too.
Oh, he did the visual effects.
No, he did. It says special makeup effects designed and produced by Robert Kurtzman.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean visual effects, though.
Right, but what I'm saying is it looks very similar to the kind of visual effects that were in that movie. In the fact that there's a scene that I still have not gotten over because it's so hilarious looking, where the kid, what's the kid's name? It's Isaac? Is that
Prestonsburg?
Yeah, is standing on top of a building, and he throws like a fucking steak knife, probably about 100 yards, and hits the lead guy, Bert, in the arm. Oh! That's one of the most ridiculous looking things. Like the knife is obviously CG, and like he throws it, and it's like a curveball, like he's fucking Pedro Martinez or something. It goes like flying.
Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah, it goes flying through the air and hits him like perfectly in the arm. There's stuff like that throughout this film, though, where the visual CG stuff is just, oh my god, it's horrible. That's not it.
There's all kinds of, like, that's the thing about this. This is one of those movies that you can, every little detail in this is horrible. Like, the only good part in it, like I was saying, is the guy that played Malachi, and they don't really even use him that much. I mean, he's just one of those guys that gives out orders, seize them, or whatever. And that's pretty much it for his character in this movie. It's kind of ridiculous.
There's an awful lot of child death in this movie, too. And it's not even the fun child death that was like in The Children. It's much more like, they don't dwell on it any at all. Like, he just very efficiently runs into the cornfields and starts like snapping little kids' necks and stabbing them and like doesn't even think twice about it. Like, at least in The Children, the people were like, they had to do it because the children were killing them and they knew they were going to, but there was some remorse there and there was some like hesitation. Yeah. This guy's fucking like Chuck Norris.
Well, there's another scene too, though, that doesn't make any damn sense, where his character is sort of cornered in an alleyway by some of the children of the corn, of course, right? And then the larger ones, like, he kills the larger ones easy, right? Then there's like a ton of little small ones that come after him, and then he starts running. He's like, oh! Get out of here! These little kids are gonna get me now! Like, he took out two of the bigger kids. Now he's scared of the little 5 and 6 year olds running to get him. There's
everybody involved.
I would actually highly recommend people watching this, though, because it's one of those movies that's just, you've got to experience it. You've got to see just how bad movies can get. It is, I mean, because I think truly this is one of the worst, like, all around. There's really nothing good to say about this movie at all, or the people that made it. And I'm talking about you, Felcher. I'm talking about Slippy, because he had just a big enough hand in this as Peter Borchers, or whatever his name is.
Donald P. Borchers.
That's right.
Donald P.
It's Donald P.
Yeah. I mean, really. You ought to be ashamed, Michael Felcher. You ought to be ashamed. This is worse than Simon King of the Witches.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe, And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do or
I
not.
want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell. Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DEADPIT on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.